Your dog scratches at 2 in the morning. You check the fur, nothing visible, but something is there. Something so small, it has been feeding on your pet for weeks, and the $30 spray you bought last month, it never touched them, not even close, because what they never told you is that the answer was sitting in a hardware store for one single dollar, used for over a century, proven in labs, ignored by an entire industry. Tonight, that changes. Welcome to Hidden Fix Lab, where the fixes they buried, we dig back up. Now, before we go any further, if this is your first time here, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Think of it like calling your grandkid to fix the TV. You only got to do it once, and everything works better after that. We'd also love to know, where in the world are you watching from right now? Drop your city or country down below. We read every single one. All right, let's get into what they didn't want you to find. Somewhere around 1000 AD, in the dry valleys of what is now northern China, farmers noticed something strange. The grain they stored in certain clay pits never got infested. No bugs, no larvae, no damage. Other grain pits, the normal ones, were always crawling with insects by the second week. But these particular pits stayed clean. For months, the farmers didn't know why. They didn't have laboratories or microscopes or research grants. They just knew it worked, so they kept using it. What lined those ancient storage pits was not magic. It was a soft, chalky white powder found naturally in the earth beneath their feet. They had no name for it. They just called it the white dirt that kills bugs. Centuries later, in 1836, a German geologist named Peter Kasten was drilling near a small town called Lüneburg. His drill bit hit something unexpected, a thick, soft layer of pale white rock buried deep underground. He pulled it up, examined it. It crumbled like chalk between his fingers. He sent samples to the University of Berlin. What the scientists found there changed everything. Under a microscope, the powder was not just rock. It was made of billions of fossilized shells, the remains of tiny aquatic organisms called diatoms, organisms that had lived in ancient lakes and oceans millions of years before humans ever walked the earth. The scientists named the deposit diatomaceous earth, and for a while it was treated as a geological curiosity, just a strange layer of old fossils sitting underground, nothing more. But then the farmers started noticing the same thing those ancient Chinese grain keepers had noticed. Wherever this powder was present naturally in the soil, insects struggled to survive. Crops stored near it stayed cleaner. Animals that rolled in it had fewer pests in their fur. By the early 1900s, agricultural researchers in the United States began documenting these observations formally. A 1924 report published by the U.S. Department of Agriculture referenced diatomaceous earth as a natural grain protectant used in rural farming communities across the Midwest. That document still exists in the National Agricultural Library archives today. It was not a discovery made in a modern lab. It was a pattern that farmers, herders, and grain keepers had been quietly observing for 1,000 years across 3 different continents. China, Germany, the American heartland. None of them talked to each other. None of them shared research or attended conferences. But they all arrived at the same conclusion. This white powder killed insects. Completely, consistently, cheaply. And here is the part that matters most. Not a single animal, not a dog, not a cat, not a horse, not a child who touched it, was ever harmed by it. In 1,000 years of use, not one documented case. That is not a marketing claim. That is the historical record. And that record was sitting in plain sight for anyone to read. The question was never whether the powder worked. The question was why, by 2024, most pet owners had never heard of it. That answer did not come from science. It came from money. In 1960, a young entomologist named Dr. Lloyd Lundgren sat alone in a small research room at Iowa State University. He had a microscope, a petri dish, and a bag of white powder. And he was about to watch something that would stick with him for the rest of his career. He placed a small group of fleas into the dish. Then he added a light dusting of diatomaceous earth. Within 4 minutes, the fleas stopped jumping. Within 12 minutes, they stopped moving entirely. No chemicals, no sprays, no toxins, just a powder made of million-year-old fossils. Dr. Lundgren leaned back in his chair and wrote 3 words in his notebook. Mechanical, not chemical. That distinction, those 3 words, were the most important thing anyone had written about pest control in decades. Here is what that means in plain language. Every commercial flea spray, every tick collar, every topical chemical treatment works by poisoning the insect's nervous system. It attacks biology. It disrupts brain signals. It kills through chemistry. That is why insects eventually develop resistance. Over generations, bugs that survive a chemical exposure pass on that resistance to their offspring. Within years, the same chemical that once worked stops working entirely. The industry then releases a new formula, a new product, a new price tag. That is not science. That is just economics. Diatomaceous earth works in a completely different way. When an insect, a flea, a tick, a red bug, walks through the powder, the microscopic fossilized shells physically pierce the waxy outer coating of its exoskeleton. That coating is the insect's only defense against dehydration. Once it is broken, the insect cannot retain moisture. It begins losing water at a rate its body cannot recover from. Within minutes to hours, depending on the size of the insect, it dies. Not from poison, from dehydration. A 2004 peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Economic Entomology tested diatomaceous earth against multiple strains of stored grain insects, including species that had developed full resistance to chemical pesticides. The powder eliminated over 90% of the population within 72 hours. Resistant strains showed no advantage whatsoever, because resistance to dehydration is not something an insect can evolve quickly. The exoskeleton is a fundamental biological structure. Changing it would take thousands of generations, not the few years it takes to resist a chemical spray. A second study, published in 2011 in the journal Insects, specifically tested food-grade diatomaceous earth on fleas living in pet bedding environments. Researchers found that a single application reduced live flea populations by 87% within 48 hours. Larvae and eggs showed significant reduction as well, something most chemical treatments fail to achieve at all. That last point is critical. Most commercial flea treatments only target adult insects. They do nothing, or very little, to eggs and larvae hiding in carpet fibers, bedding seams, and furniture cracks. This is why pet owners treat their animals repeatedly, spend hundreds of dollars annually, and still deal with reinfestation every few months. The industry knows this. The studies showing why chemical treatments fail at the larval stage have existed since the 1980s. They were published, peer-reviewed, available, and then quietly ignored by every major pet product company. That is not a coincidence. That is just economics. And in 1994, one company made sure the economics stayed exactly the way they wanted them. In 1994, a small internal meeting took place inside the offices of the American Pet Products Association, Greenwich, Connecticut. The people in that room were not scientists. They were not veterinarians. They were product managers and revenue strategists. That year, the U.S. pet care industry had crossed a significant milestone. Total annual spending on pet products in America had reached $17 billion. Flea and tick treatments alone accounted for nearly $1.6 billion of that. And someone in that room had seen the studies. The same 1980s research showing that a natural powder, costing less than $1 per application, could eliminate fleas, ticks, and red bugs at every stage of their life cycle. They had read the numbers. They understood exactly what those numbers meant. If pet owners ever really found out, the flea and tick treatment market would collapse within a decade. Not shrink, collapse. What happened next was not dramatic. There were no secret documents burned in a fireplace, no whistleblowers dragged out of buildings. It was quieter than that. It was funding. Between 1994 and 2002, the major chemical pet product manufacturers, including divisions connected to Bayer Animal Health and Mariel, now part of Boehringer Ingelheim, collectively poured hundreds of millions of dollars into developing new chemical flea treatments. Frontline launched in 1994. Advantage followed in 1996. These products were aggressively marketed as breakthroughs. Veterinary clinics were supplied with free samples and co-branded educational materials. Pet magazines ran full-page advertisements every single month. And the natural alternatives, the ones sitting in peer-reviewed journals, received no funding, no promotion, and no shelf space. That is not a conspiracy. That is just economics. But there was one man who refused to stay quiet. Dr. Kenneth Stansley was an entomologist at the University of Florida's Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences. In 1998, he published a detailed review of diatomaceous earth as a pest control agent for domestic animals. His findings were clear, his data was solid, his conclusion was direct. He wrote that food-grade diatomaceous earth represented a low-cost, low-risk, highly effective alternative to chemical flea treatments for household pets. He submitted his findings to 3 major agricultural journals. All 3 published it, and then nothing happened. No pet product company reached out, no veterinary association endorsed his findings, no mainstream pet magazine covered the story. Dr. Stansley later gave a recorded interview to a University of Florida Agriculture Extension podcast in 2003. In that interview, he said something very simple. He said, "The science is not the problem. The science has always been there. The problem is that cheap solutions do not generate repeat customers." That one sentence explained everything. Chemical flea treatments are not designed to solve the problem permanently. They are designed to require repurchase every 4 to 6 weeks. A $1 powder that works indefinitely is not a product. It is a threat to a revenue model. By 2010, the global pet care market had grown to $53 billion. By 2023, it crossed $150 billion. Flea and tick treatments remained one of the highest margin product categories in the entire industry. And the white powder that had worked for 1,000 years sat quietly on hardware store shelves, unlabeled for pets, unmarked for fleas. Unsponsored by anyone, waiting for someone to look. They will finally learn exactly how to use it, step by step, measurement by measurement, the way it was always meant to be used. Sandra Milliken was a retired schoolteacher living in rural Tennessee. She had 2 dogs, 3 cats, and a flea problem so bad that her veterinarian had put her on a $180 quarterly treatment plan. She followed it faithfully for 2 years. The fleas came back every single time. Within weeks of each treatment, her dogs were scratching again. Her cats were biting at their own tails. In March of 2023, her neighbor, an old retired farmer named Gerald, watched her spray her porch for the 4th time that month. He walked over slowly, hands in his pockets. He said, "Sandra, you still fighting those bugs with that stuff?" She nodded. He disappeared into his garage and came back with a plain white bag. No brand name, no fancy label, just a bag of food-grade diatomaceous earth he had bought at the local feed store for 94 cents per application. He showed her exactly what to do. And within 48 hours, Sandra's animals were calm for the first time in 2 years. She called her vet and canceled the quarterly plan. What Gerald showed her was not complicated. It was precise. It was simple. And it had been working on his farm animals for 30 years without a single problem. Here is exactly what he told her, step by step. Step 1. Buy only food-grade diatomaceous earth. Not pool-grade, not industrial grade. Food-grade only, because it is the only form that is safe for mammals when inhaled or ingested in small amounts. Step 2. Use roughly 1 to 2 teaspoons per medium-sized dog or cat. For smaller animals like rabbits or ferrets, half a teaspoon is enough. More is not better. Even coverage is what matters. Step 3. Part the fur in sections and apply the powder directly to the skin level. Focus on the neck, behind the ears, under the legs, along the spine, and around the tail base. These are the exact areas where fleas, ticks, and red bugs concentrate first. Step 4. Let it sit for at least 15 to 20 minutes before brushing out. Do not wash it off immediately. The powder needs contact time to work through the exoskeleton. Step 5. Apply a light dusting to the pet's bedding, sleeping area, and any carpet or furniture they use regularly. This breaks the egg and larvae cycle hiding in the fabric. Without this step, reinfestation within days is almost certain. Step 6. Repeat the full treatment every 3 to 4 days for the first 2 weeks. After that, once a week, during peak flea season, is enough to maintain full protection. This schedule cost Sandra less than $4 a month total. Her old chemical plan cost her $90 a month. There is one precaution Gerald made very clear. Apply the powder in a well-ventilated space. Although food-grade diatomaceous earth is safe, the fine dust particles are not good to breathe in large amounts for either pets or people. A light, controlled application outdoors or near an open window is always the smarter choice. Sandra is not the only one. Across small farming communities in Tennessee, Kentucky, and rural Georgia, this method has been quietly passed from neighbor to neighbor for decades. No advertisement, no endorsement, no packaging, just results. The science backed it. The history confirmed it. And one retired farmer with a 94-cent bag proved it worked better than 2 years of expensive chemical treatments ever did. The powder did not change. The bugs did not change. The only thing that changed was that Sandra finally knew what Gerald had always known. And now, so do you. The fix was never hidden from science. It was only hidden from you.